Best thing about Ford vans is this button on here. When your windscreen's like that, it'll take literally 30 seconds and the ice will be gone. Even my door was froze shut this morning, to be fair, but this windscreen will be gone in a second. It's Saturday as well, that's why it's 7:30. I'd normally start at about 6, but it's Saturday. Right, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you're all doing well. Quite a bit coming up in this episode, so I won't waffle on too long. I just wanted to run through the first couple of jobs. First one was a really pungent smell. It was just a cloakroom. It only had a toilet and a basin in, and it got a het VO valve behind the pedestal. So the only thing I could put it down to was that, really. Sometimes they can get gunged up and stick. So as you see in the video, I swap it over. The camera did have a little bit of a smudge on the lens bottom right, but I've decided to include the footage anyway, just because I thought it was a little bit interesting, the job. And the second one was a leaking drain off tap. You'll see somebody put a jug underneath it. It was in a massive building, and to be honest with you, I didn't really want to drain it. I did think about just nipping it up, but it always ends up in a callback. So you'll see me swapping it out. I was super annoyed with myself again with the footage, because the bit where I get the washer out with the wood screw, I didn't film. To be honest, the water was red hot and it was just coming at me a little bit quick, so I had to be a little bit fast. But yeah, hopefully the content's still enjoyable. There is other stuff in the video as well. There's frozen pipes, there's a boiler fault, there's other bits and bobs. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy, and we'll catch you straight in there. Normally it's these VO valves. You can't see very well down here, but I'm going to whip it out and have a look. I don't carry the het VOs in the van, but I should be able to might use a box trap and just swing it back out. See what we can do with it. I think that's probably what the problem was. If it's not sealing off properly, it's often what it is. I'm just going to swap this out. I've already glued a 45 on there. I'm just going to use that M&F and that 45. I think that'll do it. Make sure we've got no leaks on these tap connectors. Dry everything off, and then we'll just put some water down the waste, make sure we've got no leaks on that. But I think that was the cause of the smell. And so sometimes they get gunged down but they don't seal back off. So yeah, I've only done what I can do. Just put a bit down it for a start, make sure we've got no big leaks, and then we'll fill it right up to overflow. So I know it sticks out a bit, but you won't really notice that.
the last check, make sure these ISO valves aren't leaking. I think we're good. Often they do leak, especially when you want to get on. That was fine. That one also looks fine. There's a washer on there. I think the old washer's been left behind. Sometimes if you get a screw in there, you can pull them out. I drained it from here. I didn't really want to drain it because it's a massive system. It runs flipping miles across there. What, we've got a 50 litre vessel. So hopefully it fills back up okay. I'll have to find a link for that fill loop because I shouldn't think the Flamco works looking at the state of it. So I'll shut this one back off. I'm going to leave my hose on and I'm just going to put a bit of water in. I did manage to get that washer out, but it's absolutely burning my hand. That's shut off. Let's see if I've got a fill loop in the van. I'll just literally put a little bit in, make sure we're okay. Stick this one in here. And then hopefully we can get back in and make sure there's no leaks. That was the old braided hose as I found it. I was going to drain it from there, but the thing's on the wrong way around. That's another one of my pet hates and all. But yeah, I won't fill in through that anyway. Let's put, that's the cold main. That's the heating system. And we'll go and check that end. We do have a head gauge on here, which is showing, well, to be honest, that's showing 0.3 of a bar. And that one's showing 0.1 of a bar. That fill loop's just on at the other end. Where's the bit of washer gone? Or where's the washer gone? There's that bit. But I did get the washer out somewhere. It's actually not that way down here. All things considering. I think my towel got 95% of it. I think we're good. I think we're good. We'll make sure the pressure gets back up to 1 bar, or 1.5 bar I think it was on. And then we'll come back this end and then we'll just have to check all the rads are getting up. Where's that coming from? Sprinting back around like Linford Christie. So probably had about 1/2 bar in that drain off tap and it wasn't leaking, so I assume we're okay. Let's get the system filled back up. I don't know how much water we lost. It was probably draining down for about 10 minutes. Shut up, look, it's not leaking at all. It's nearly at 1.5 in it. We'll leave it at that minute. We can always put a bit more in. The curve does work. Boiler's come back on anyway, so that's all should be as it was. 10:56, yeah, about the right time. We'll go around and check what gets hot. The flow's gone red hot straight away, probably because they didn't have the pump overrun on. It'll be alright. The bouncing on the head gauge is air in the system. To be honest, the pipes rise and they go right across the building, they're all on drops, so there might be some air taps at the far end or somewhere in the building. I mean, it might push itself around if we're lucky. You can tell if your pump's working by the head gauges, so you'll always have more on your positive side. So what we're reading, 1.2 bar that side, it's actually just over 1.2 bar this side. So the pump probably is a little bit weak, but it's one of the older Grundfosses. I've been around and checked all the rads, but there's about 3 or 4 on the system that's not going, so I've switched them all off. And sometimes a good way is just switch your pump on and off and you might hear a glug go round. And we'll go and check them 3 that aren't working. I've checked the pins on them. There was about 10 stuck pins on the system. Let's see if it'll shift it. You can hear it. Yeah, coming back now. So just do that a couple more times. And it'll probably shift it. And then when we go in, you'll probably find them rads are working. Right, that job took me... I've been there about 3 hours. Just trying to get them 3 radiators going. There's no access to the roof space above. I think it might even be a flat roof the way it's done. The pipes come up off the main run. The main run's hot, and M3. So I turned everything off, and it still won't push it through. That pump is a little bit weak, to be fair, but I've just literally started to get them to creep through. So I said it might come back as a recall, but I've literally got to be a million and one of the places. I've freed off a load of pins in there. Everything else is working. There's quite a few rads in there, to be fair. Where have I got to go now? I need to ring these because I'm late. They've got no water. Basically, something outside has froze up and they've got no water to the toilet block. 35 minutes away. So yeah, we'll go there. Just give them a quick call, and yeah, we'll see what we can sort. It's been about -3 outside the last few days, and I'm guessing something split here. I'd say it's froze up. This is outside. What's leaking? It's steel, isn't it? That galv. Everything's probably leaking. It's on that. Well, I don't know actually. Probably on that compression fitting. That galv might split. The hose reel's leaking as well. It's probably leaking everywhere, isn't it? I can fix them other bits, but I haven't got the. Probably need a new hose reel if it's leaking on that. Right, we'll see what we can do. They've used a plastic. I don't know if that must be an M&F galv elbow 3/4, and then they've used a plastic bush back up to inch and then back down to 22mm. So I might whip that off there. I think it's leaking on that plastic. Put a 22 female line in there and then just replace it from that point. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with the hose reel, right? Because it's probably knackered. But I'll just see if I can stop these drips here down here. This blue pipe here must feed the toilet block. That's why they've got no water in the toilets, because somebody switched it off there. I mean, that's loose because it's probably been frozen, but I think it's actually leaking on the back connection on the plastic. We'll have a look at it. To be fair, I don't think that hose reel is even connected, so I don't know why it's dripping out of it. It's probably just what's spraying up. Most likely. How's that plastic fitting split? Or is it just... So it might not be leaking on that one, but it seemed to be, didn't it? Trouble is, it's definitely leaking on that one because the olive slid all the way off. So it might have just been on that front one. We'll see if that plastic is split. We can always remake that joint easy enough. I don't know why they've pushed it up and back down. Let's see if I've got a straight to 3/4 one there, and then we'll just put a slightly long bit of pipe in there. That one had definitely popped off. I can't actually find a 3/4 female line in my van without going proper scratching, so I'm going to risk that one. The plastic doesn't look split. I'm going to remake that one back on there, and then we're just going to put a new olive on that pipe there. The nut will be fine. Sometimes when the copper expands, you can't get the nut back on. That's that one back on, ski. I'll go and check the toilets. Make sure there's nothing else froze up or burst. There is a heater in here, to be fair, but it's probably not working. I can check it and make sure there's nothing else leaking. And that's job done. This is a callback to a boiler I fitted. It's got a smell of gas, so I'm just going to do a full let by tightness. It's as I say, it's a brand new. It's not a brand new gas run, But I always do a let by tightness every time I do a job. I can't personally smell it, but I'm not saying it smells more like paint to me, but we're just doing a let by at the minute. Standard meter. It's a job I did about 3 months ago. This was a job. We only had one press fit socket and then press fit elbow. So we've done let by, we've done stabilisation, we're just doing a tightness test now. 0.01 in 30 seconds, that's absolutely nothing. Might even go back up. Yeah, see, it's gone to 0, 0, 0. I don't think there's a leak on it. The only other place it can be is above the gas valve in the boiler, but it's a brand new boiler. I can put my sniffer on everything. There's no drop on that. That's its 2 minutes. And we'll just do a quick test with the sniffer, but if the case was fitted on, all this is tested anyway on the tightness test up to there, so you shouldn't really get a smell out there anyway, but I think it's okay. This one is investigate pressure loss on heating system. Now, according to the records, this system's already had a new PRV and expansion vessel on it, this boiler. I've just disconnected the PRV and it's bone dry. So what I would normally do is valve this boiler off now, all the pipework's on the surface, and leave it 24 hours and see if the pressure drops. But it's like a HMO, so I need to have a word, because I don't want to leave anybody with no heating or hot water. Pipework's all above the floor and then it just disappears into the flats. I can't get in all of the flats, so that's the problem. But it's definitely not leaking on that PRV. Pipework's just on drops. So I think you'd see it on the ceilings, to be honest with you. You've just got a standard unvented cylinder in here, so if the coil had gone, the pressure would normally go the other way because you've got 3 bar in these. Standard S-plan is it, and then just a fill loop. Why is the pressure, that gauge that gauge must be wrong because it's showing 4 bar. What's that gauge showing? That gauge is showing 2 bar. So it looks like it's had new AAVs on it. Because that's another thing that's prone to leak. You can see it has been leaking. So it's likely, if it's not going to be anything on the pipework, it's got to be the heat ex in the boiler, the heat exchanger. See, the pressure's normal on there, but I'll have to find out how often it drops. If it just does it once every 6 months or something, I don't know. Trouble is, you don't always get all the information on the jobs. All it says is it's had a new expansion vessel, new PRV. So yeah, so normally I would just valve this off overnight and see if it drops, but I'm not going to do that on this one because I don't want to upset anybody. Thank you so much for watching the episode. All the support is greatly appreciated. The next couple of videos probably aren't going to be jobbing ones. I try and vary the content as much as I can. I've still got jobs from last summer I haven't shown yet. They were sort of, I've done a big barn conversion, I've done like a new build, so I've got loads of footage on there. So I might start filtering a little bit of that into my videos. Just try and keep it interesting really. I like to try and vary it as much as I can, but obviously I can only film certain jobs and I can only sort of film what I'm doing, if that makes sense. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy what's coming up on the channel, and yeah, we'll catch you all next time.